Hi everyone, this is our Epilog project. Now over the next 4 days we are going to be making a really incredible accordion card. Now you may wonder what an accordion card looks like. So this will be your first glance into what that is. So just give me 1 second here. This is the card we're going to be creating. Now it doesn't look like much like this, but it is an accordion. So I do have a strap here. And it comes up with the word love all the way around it with some hearts on the inside. Now it does fold down flat, so you would be able to make an envelope to fit it in. This is a 6x6 size. So that is our accordion card. Now, before we get started, I want to go through all of the materials that you are going to be needing, and then I will give you the agenda for what's happening. So let's take a look at our supplies here for our accordion card. It uses 3 sheets of a solid color. Now we're going to go through how to choose the right colors a little later, but you want something with a Valentine theme, and of course you need 1 sheet of double-sided pattern cardstock. And the reason we want to have it double-sided is because you can use both sides of the pattern inside the entire design, and that's going to make life a lot easier. When you go to do that, then you don't have to cut out 2 pattern pieces. You can use the same piece of paper, but just flip them over. And then we're going to need 1 sheet of 8.5 by 11 cardstock, and I'll correct this before you get a copy of this. 1 sheet of 8.5 by 11 white cardstock. Now that is going to be used for print then cut, because we're going to print then cut some letters, and I'll just show you some of the letters that we've done here. So you only need the 1 sheet, and that's just going to go on a mat, and that's all you need for that particular piece. And I'm sorry I have 4 there, but it is 1. You're going to need some glue. I'm using glitter glue for this particular project, and I put it into a smaller bottle so I can have small drops of glue. Always have scissors on hand, and of course we're using a standard grip mat, but a light grip mat will work just as well. You need a scoring wheel or a stylus. Now if you're going to cut some of the narrower pieces using a different machine, you can always hand score if you need to. And then we need a fine tip blade and some ribbon for tying the top. Now I just used a silver ribbon on this, but you could use any kind of ribbon that you want. You just want to tie into the theme that you're working with. So that is all you need. 3 sheets solid color, 1 sheet double-sided pattern, those are 12 by 12, 1 sheet of 8.5 by 11 white cardstock, glue, scissors, standard grip mat, scoring wheel or stylus, fine tip blade, and a ribbon. Now, here is our project agenda for over the next 4 days. Day 1, which is today, we're going to go through all the planning and gathering of the materials, and then tomorrow we're going to prep up the design inside of Design Space. And day 3, we're going to prepare the accordions. Those are the pieces that stretch out. We're going to prepare all those. It's going to take a while for that glue to dry. That's why we do it on 1 day. And then on the final day, we put the last pieces together. So let's get going on day 1, because what we're going to do today, of course, determine the size of the card, deciding on the elements we're going to use, and we're going to make some color decisions, and of course some cardstock choices and your ribbon tie. So those are the big things we're going to work on right now. So I'm going to go over to the demo table because we're going to spend our time there today, and I'm going to show you some of the choices for colors that I have made, but you can make totally different choices. It doesn't have to be pinks and reds. You can use something else. Now, we had planned this for Valentine's Day, and that's the really important part. This is a Valentine's Day project. Now, I chose a red to do all of the cutting for my text, but you could choose any other color, and we can do that tomorrow when we're inside of Design Space. So let me just put this one out of the way. Now my base color is going to be red, and your base color can be anything you want because papers come into a lot of different solid colors. I mean, you can buy packs of paper And I'm just going to give you an example. This happens to be a Christmas pack, but it has all the nice little colors that you can have inside. You'll see I've got some pinks inside here, some reds, some greens, and of course some beiges, and you can get into the blues. Even though it says Christmas stock, I use up all my scraps and different things, so I could use any one of those colors quite easily. And you know, there are other paper packs that you can grab as well, and they all have different color themes. Now, the Christmas one is an easy one, but you can do different themes, such as this is a summer theme, this one, and it's called Primary Cardstock, 9 new colors. So we have reds, pinks, yellows, greens, and blues, so you could decide to change the tone of that. The biggest thing here with the cardstock you choose, you want it to be a solid core so that you have the same color front and back, no issues. So I have chosen red for my first one. And then for my second cardstock, because we do things in layers, let me just bring over this. We do it in layers. As you can see in here, I have a pattern cardstock in behind because I had a few scraps of things I wanted to use up. But you could use a solid color. And for me, for this second one in here, I wanted to have a pink going on. So I have used that as a color. Let me move that one out of the side. Now for my pattern paper, I found this Valentine's pack of different papers, and those papers are all double-sided. So let me just show you what I have here. This is called a Be Mine, and it's a paper pad, block paper. It's Valentine's Day. And inside, of course, are all these different pattern papers, and they're all two-sided. So you could pick any kind of pattern you want. I tend to want to use ones that are helter-skelter because it wouldn't matter which way I turned the card. If they go in one direction, sometimes it's more difficult when it comes to the card. So a choice of something that doesn't have a direction, that works as well. Stripes work, and this one has hearts going up and down. This arrows doesn't really make any difference. Dots are perfect. Chevrons are good. This one's not so bad because it doesn't matter. And this one goes in one direction. I would tend not to use something like that. But here's a floral one that goes in every direction. So when you're choosing your pattern, I would suggest getting something that goes in any direction. There's quite a few here that go in many directions. One like this is okay. And of course we have some other different X's and O's and different designs. So this is a paper pad, and it's a Valentine's Day one, and I did pick this up at Michael's, so you can get those choices. You should be able to find this at Joann's as well. So there's another choice. Now I chose this one because I have the hearts, even though they're going in one direction. If I turn this one over, now I've pre-cut, I have the hearts going in two directions on the other side. So I can decide if I want to leave my cut face up or face down. I'm able to use it either way. And then of course there's only one other choice. So we have the pattern, we have the base, we have the second one coming up. So we have pattern choices here. So in ours we've got red, I've got two patterns. So I've got the lips and I've got the arrows, and you'll see the arrows and the lips here, and inside of course are my hearts and the pattern piece. So basically you want to have 2, 3 solid colors, 2 solid colors that work well for you, and then of course you can use a pattern sheet. And finally you want to have a white 8.5 by 11 to cut out your letters, and that's going to be the important part of what you want to do. Now, making the color decisions is probably the toughest thing for you. So those are your cardstock choices. So make sure ahead of time, before we get into Design Space, that you know what colors you are going to use. So let's go back over this. So we have a base color, in this chance it's red. And then I have a pattern, which is my second color, which will be pink in this case for the one we're going to do. And that will take the place of these extra little pieces you see here. And I have them on the inside as well. And then we have, of course, our pattern piece, which is back here somewhere else. And that is the top one that we used here. And I used the hearts and kisses, and I turned it over and used it here. So we have different choices for what we want. So now your big choice is, what are you going to use for a base? What are you going to use for your secondary color? And what are you going to use for your pattern? So those are the 3 12 by 12 choices that you are going to have to make at this point. So you are going to need a full 12 by 12, probably 2 sheets of the red, 1 sheet of whatever your secondary color is. In my case, it's going to be pink for the next one. And then the pattern paper is another 12 by 12. And then you're going to need an 8.5 by 11 to cut out the different letters. And that is all you need to worry about, plus what you're going to do with the ribbon as well. And that's an important part. So use any scrap ribbons that you see around or make your own. So those are all the choices that we have to make today. Now, once we have finished up with making your choices, make sure you've got everything in order ahead of time. We're going to head over to Design Space tomorrow, and we're going to start cutting or creating a lot of these different parts and pieces. Now, I have provided you with a template, but you can use your own sizes if that's what you want to do. All right, let's get ready for day 2. We're going over to Design Space tomorrow.